Vasco da Gama. We all know, I studied in my school, that Vasco da Gama in the 15th century, he discovered the road from Portugal to India. While Vasco da Gama himself, he mentioned in his memories that he met one Muslim sailor from the fleet, the Ottoman Empire fleet, and he said he had some advanced kind of compass and some astrolabes, and he said that he is the one who led his ships from Melenda to Calcutta in India. So they were mainly the one who's leading his ships to make his discovery. Then, what I speak also about geography. Do you want to speak about the discovery of America, the truth of discovery of America? I think later. But what you have to know about it, that in some writing that they say that even Christopher Columbus, from the lots of scenes that he saw in Venezuela and Panama, once he stepped on the east coast shore, he told the Indian, he saw that they're Muslims, say Assalamu alaikum. There's many signs, and many archaeologists said there is some remnants of Islamic culture was in South America and North America. And even some of them, they say the word California, it comes from Arabic language. Because when the Arab went there for the first time, they said, this place is California. It's like stove, it's very hot. What is some theories, maybe. About astronomy and mathematics, I think I don't have much time, but speed up. About astronomy, we found that the Muslims, they had many observatories, big observatories in Persia, in Cordoba. For example, the first one who invented the pendulum was Ibn Yunus al-Masri almost in the 10th century, while this invention has been attributed to others. We find that, for example, Abu al-Wafa al-Bawghani, he was the first one who discovered some disorder in the movement of the moon, and he introduced some of these mathematical trigonometric functions, which actually for any engineering student, it saved our life many times in the exam actually. So I owe to him. Then we find we have in the mathematics we have many contributions of the Muslims and Arabs. For example, Al-Battani, who was the first one who introduced the sec and the cosec of the sine and sine, and introduced some function for the tan alpha. If we speak about algebra and Al-Khwarizmi, Al-Khwarizmi from his name is took the algorithm and the logarithmic function, and he founded a science called algebra, which called in Arabic algebra. This science was mainly to process and solve the linear and quadratic equations. And he introduced some method like muqabala, which you get the negative parts in one part. I hope if there's some engineers that are not bored, because these things may be interesting to them. Then, the chemistry. The chemistry is mainly founded by Jabir ibn Hayyan. That's why we call it al-khimya, or they remove the al and mean the chemistry. And mainly the word in Arabic means al-kimiyya. Al-kimiyya means the quantity. Because the early chemistry scientists, they used to say the science of the chemistry is to bring one quantity with other quantity, and through some process you get another quantity. And in the beginning they had the same dreams of the Greeks to change the cheap material to gold and diamond. So we find Jabir ibn Hayyan as Gustave Le Bon, the writer of the book called The History of Arabs and Muslims. He says he's one of the most remarkable and the best ever scientists of chemistry that came in the medieval or the Dark Ages. He even introduced something very important, which is very important for the people who even study science in general, to see the scientific method that he took for his researches. For example, he said, first, the chemist has to set an assumption through his observation, and then next one, he must reach a conclusion, and then to take this conclusion back to nature and see whether it will support his findings or not. It's very advanced. Then he prepared many substances. Jabir ibn Hayyan has many encyclopedias. He prepares the sulfuric acids, the hydraulic acids, the mercury acids, the nitrohydrochloric acids, which has been unfortunately attributed to others. If we speak about medicine, before I speak about medicine, I will speak about hospitals in the Islamic civilization. The hospitals in the Islamic civilization were very advanced, and they even implement some kind of called the mobile hospitals. They were equipped the camels, about 40 camels, with doctors, with medicines, with everything to go for the place. For example, at the time of the Black Plague that happened in the Arab lands, they were equipped with mobile hospitals that go to the place and interact. Even some writers said we went to in Iraq, we found a whole city working medicine. All the city work in medicine, and people go for the treatment there. The kind of methods of prevention and prevention procedure in Islamic hospitals, it was very advanced in that time. That when the patient goes, they took off all his clothes, his garment, and give him a new garment, and they allocate him to the department that dedicated with his case, whether he has a smallpox, whether he has some kind of fever or whatever. While in some other hospitals in other countries in that time, they used to put, it was mentioned in their reference, they used to put all the patients in the same department, the one who has a smallpox with the woman who is pregnant, and there was some kind of rule that you can't remove the dead body before 24 hours of his death. One of the most remarkable physicists in the medicine called Abu Bakr al-Razi. Abu Bakr al-Razi, who was in the 9th century, he discovered the smallpox, the measles, the allergies and fevers, and one of his works is the Ethics of Medicine. And listen to what he wrote. He wrote, "The doctors aimed to be good, even to our enemies, so much more to our friends, and my profession forbids us to do harm to any man, as institute for the benefit and the welfare of the human race." So as I told you, the moral and the ethics in the Islamic culture was in the parallel way with the science. Because in general, for example, in Egypt we have the Ministry of Education. It's called the Ministry of Moral Education and Science Education. Why? Because we say if you don't have moral, we don't need your science. Because you can get science while you don't have moral and ethics, but you will bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and you kill millions with your science. Then we find the science called Abu Qasim al-Zahrawi. Abu Qasim al-Zahrawi, he invented more than 200 surgical tools. He made the surgical scissor, the scalpel. He said even some principles and laws for these surgical tools. And he broke the bladder stone by the scope. He made the vaginoscope, and it's really beautiful that even it's a copy from his book. Even you see how spies they are there. He's writing up above. He says, "Wallahu a'lamu bis-sawab," and Allah knows what's correct. It's kind of submission these sons have that made them excel in their field. Then Ibn al-Haytham. Ibn al-Haytham, if we speak about optics, he's the first one who made a very advanced, specific anatomy for the eyes. And he also the first one who invented what we call the black box, which is the basic construction of the camera opuscula, we call it till now. And even he made some modification of Muti, the Chinese scientist, of getting the reverse pictures, and he got better results. And he was the first one in history that he said the light has a speed and it can be measured. Now I will go fast, and I finished the applied science mainly. I speak very fast. Okay. I will speak about the sociology for anyone who studies sociology. Sociology has been attributed, just Wikipedia, the founder of sociology, and you will find that whether they are arguing whether it's Augustine Comte or Giambattista Vico, the Italian. while we found that